Good morning, Uganda team lives it. Here we come on yet another very good day. It is the 14th of September in this year 2021. Now, Good Morning Uganda Extra. Joining me in studios this morning is the Honorable Paulson Kasana Lutamaguzi Semakula, Member of Parliament representing Nakaseke South in the 11th Parliament. You're very welcome, Honorable Lutamaguzi Semakula.
Vice Chairperson, Local Government Public Accounts Committee.
Vice Chairperson of the Local Government's
Public
Accounts Committee. Happy to have you in studio this morning.
Yes, greetings to the viewers of UBC, especially my constituents of Semuto, Kapeka, Kasangombe, Nakaseke. I know my brother Semakula Jagena must be familiar with those villages I've mentioned, the sub-counties. But it's a pleasure to be here on UBC, and I hope that those viewing us will take our deliberations in good moods.
Okay.
Thank you.
How have you been lately?
I'm okay. You know, I'm a politician at the same time a farmer. This is our season. It's incumbent upon government to ensure that at least they try to encourage all politicians to go back to their constituents and encourage people who voted them at least to be somehow hardworking, especially that this is a rainy season. We can stop the syndrome of over-begging. There is a new there is a new norm in our culture today that the youth no longer want to do agriculture. They think that when you go agriculture, you are one of the people who have failed in the society. So we should go back and encourage them and try to emphasize to them that when you go agriculture, that's where the future lies. Because as per now, I have a friend from Germany recently. He told me that he wanted to give me something close to 500 million to start up some business in Uganda. But I looked around and see any business which I can start with 500 million such that I can make profits. I ended up telling him, please, I don't want us to have problems in the future. You can take away money unless we go
You refused the grant of 500 million shillings because
it isn't a grant. It was some kind of a token. I can take it to be a token. Being given to a given by a relative to me, such that we can start up a business and then he can be getting some profits out of it. But I told him, I looked around, because if you try to start up any business in Uganda today, it cannot take more than a year without it collapsing, especially in terms of overtaxation, and the environment itself is not very clear.
So why didn't you use the money for agriculture?
No, even agriculture is not all that very open in terms of profiteering, but you can only get something out of it if you've been there, trying to venture, trying to do whatever you can. You try to fix yourself in it and know the outcomes. You know, most of the times for us we depend on nature. Okay. If nature changes, the outputs also do change. But if you stay abroad and you want to invest in your country and you want to invest through your relative in Uganda, that's what I thought. It's not very easy. You try to see some businesses around which can be profiteering. It's not very easy. So we try to go agriculture such that we follow the norm of our country, which says that agriculture is the backbone of our economy. We walk the talk such that we can match with the situation in the country.
Well, Honorable Lutamaguzi, just before we delve into the issues of the legislative agenda, the opposition legislative agenda, which I want us to talk about this morning, you also said you deputize at the Local Government Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. Is this the same committee that has been following the COVID funds?
Exactly.
Yes, I saw your committee yesterday in Parliament asking and of course quizzing some clergy from Arua, and some staff actually were supposed to send the money to the others also, having been beneficiaries of the same amount of money. What are you going to do with that?
It has become a culture in our country that anyone who can steal, and of course you go scot-free, because what do you expect us to do? the work of Parliament is to investigate and make recommendations. We've been moving countrywide, like for me, I've been in Western Uganda. We discovered that the majority of the would-be vulnerables, all the vulnerables in quotes, actually received the messages of which had no money. They could receive messages that what is the other name besides Jagenda?
Semakula? Zikusoka.
Zikusoka. Zikusoka, you have received the 100 plus, plus the little man of withdrawal. Yes. But when you go to the ATM to withdraw the money,
to mobile money.
To mobile money to withdraw it, you just reach there and then they tell the majority of them that the message is there, but there is no money. The majority of them, that's what happened. And there are counselors who received the money when they had the Baganda call it Omugano. When they heard that there is money which is coming, they organized themselves into groups and then such that they could also be beneficiaries of it.
Whose problem was that?
It's a general problem actually in this country where there is money, everyone thinks of eating, no matter the outcomes, and these people never knew that there would be a time when there would be some investigations of such kind of relief. But they were also caught off guard. They never knew that it would be such a time when investigation comes. But now you could wonder how someone could sit down and put the name of a priest that is one of the vulnerables, counselors,
and the priest received the money.
Yes, they received the money.
But the priest didn't receive as a priest. The priest received as
what?
A disguised something.
Yes,
somebody.
Of course. Not only him, but there are many people who disguise to be what they are not.
What
like for example,
because,
I was in Ntungamo, and so many people in Ntungamo municipality, and so many people are being registered as border riders. But when you call them, some of them could say, someone just put my name such that I could receive the money because we have some patients here, we have some problems here. But anyway, the message came, but I never received the money. I just went to the mobile money center to check if my money had come. Reaching there, they told me that it was some hoax, so I had to go back.
Lutamaguzi Semakula, whose problem is this? What we need to do, because you are just privileged that you're a member of parliament. If you were not a member of parliament, maybe you would also be a Lutamaguzi Semakula in Nakaseke, doing some other thing. A farmer who would also want to receive this money, or who would not refuse to receive this money.
Yes.
That mindset of Ugandans, the dependence mindset of a myoga money has come, we need to mobilize ourselves, go and get a myoga. There is this, we need to, there is that. And I just want to know what the problem could be and what we think we need to do. You are the leaders. These people in Nakaseke, these people in Salama, where I come from, these people in Tororo, these people in Uhura, they're in Ntungam, and they're everywhere.
But for me, I always have a saying that the leaders and the led almost have similar thinking. Because all these vices are practiced in presence of the people, and they sit and plan. Don't think that it was accidental. And close to more than 20 billions, more than that, was eaten. Is it the first time? What do you want Parliament to do? Because I know Zikusoka, whichever problem that comes, it is a castigation of Parliament by the Zikusokas of Nakaseke, Uganda. So it's a general problem which you shouldn't only put to Parliament, to task Parliament to investigate and then reach conclusions. Yes, sometimes we investigate and reach conclusions, but what happens? Are we the ones who are supposed to apprehend those culprits? Our duty is to make recommendations. We do make recommendations continuously, because these are not the first monies to be stolen. People are stealing billions of money.
Making recommendations.
No, we are not tired. We are not tired, and we shall not tire, because these reports are meant for future references. Today they may not be apprehended just because of some connections, maybe to those who are in power, or because of the weakness in the systems we have. but maybe for future they may be apprehended and then the action may be taken. Like for example, I can tell you, you can't tell me, and for us we knew that there is no program which involves cash that can succeed in this country without money being eaten.
We've not learned from anything.
We have learned nothing and forgotten nothing. And there is nothing yet to change. No one should fool you that there is yet something going to be done. Like for example, if you come from your villages, you see ministers, you see politicians sleeping in houses which are like hotels, which are like hotels in Rome. In Rome. You see in Uganda, you see ministers who don't earn more than 10 millions. Or some public servants who don't earn more than 5 millions, sleeping in houses which are like hotels. Have you ever taken time, you as a responsible citizen, plus other leaders at different echelons of leadership, have you ever taken time and investigate how those people get money to put such hotels which they turned into homes? Because for you, leave it to Parliament. Parliament. Even if you don't have food to eat, someone doesn't have food to eat. Parliament. Even if you pass via a road which has been constructed in some funny way, Parliament. Now, don't leave everything to Parliament. You know, if you are to transform this country into a better place we want it to be, we need to work as a team. Parliament does its role. Like for you shouldn't be like my voters in Nakaseke, because even if someone goes to the well and finds that the well is not clean, they don't clean. You know, we have this community something work. They always refer to MFI. So we should work as a team. This is not the work of President Museveni as executive. This is not the work of ministers. It's not the work of Parliament. It is the work of all Ugandans to ensure that we fight these vices which have enrooted into all societies. Like for example, did that police take time to go back? Because I don't think that someone who can put Zikusoka's name as Reverend Zikusoka, he gets your number, exact number.
Without your consent?
Without your consent.
Without you knowing?
Because if that money comes, I don't think that the police has someone who goes to the mobile money to withdraw for him.
From your number? Because you have the PIN?
Yeah, you have your PIN. It's a secret PIN. It is you to go and pick that money.
So it's the priest who went to get the money?
Yes, so the whole society is completely rotten. You see, now we are blaming each other, but what we should know, we should get time and sit as a country and start devise ways how we can put this country into the right path. Otherwise, we are becoming a country of lamenters. And these people, the chance of eating the money is not yet to reduce. Because if someone has stolen a duck, you see that maybe he stole a duck, he can forego a goat. And the one who stole a duck, when he sees a goat, the appetite increases. After feeding a goat, then he sees a cow. It's a country of thieves almost, because there is an institution which is clean today, including Parliament, where I sit. I can't tell you that members of Parliament are angels. Every institution today is totally full of thieves. The people you see in suits moving on the streets, those are real robbers. But because for them they rob in a scientific manner, which is not easy to come. For you, when you say a chicken thief, that one who doesn't steal in a scientific manner, you crowbar him to death. But this big thief who puts on a suit and is seated in the what, you praise them. Like for example, if you go to the village where you're born, they say, this is Zikusoka Jagenda Semakura started with this man. This man is coming in brand new Pajeros, but Jagenda comes in a taxi. What happened? They look at you as a customer. For you,
those are the villagers now.
For you try to convince them that for me I'm working using the right channels to become rich. They say now you are. There is a word they use now. This one is Farah, because it has not still. Do you know? Every time I go to my village, there are some tycoons who come to my village, especially when you have funeral rites, whatever. But they don't have clear jobs. You ask someone that this man has money, but what does he do?
Nobody
Do you know
knows.
what they tell you? Me, I'm a dealer in Kampala.
So
They tell you, me, I'm a dealer. Being a dealer in Kampala now is also a job. You ask someone, what do you do? Me, I'm a dealer.
Dealing in what? Because you could be dealing in hardware, dealing in cement, dealing in timber.
But you can't be a dealer of cement when you don't have a workshop of cement.
Dr. Maguzi, let's get to the legislative agenda, which was launched sometime last month, the opposition legislative agenda. Now, it is a call or an answer to the public that what does the opposition have to offer? And now the opposition came out to say, if you are asking us for what we have to offer, then we are offering an alternative. And here it is. Yesterday, we saw the leader of the opposition paying a courtesy visit to the Katikkiro of Uganda, Honorable Mathias Nsamba Mpuuga, visiting the Katikkiro, Charles Peter Mayiga, and he promised and pledged he will do the same to all the other cultural institutions and, of course, move around the country, because this is the agenda for the opposition, which needs to be sold out to every other person. Let's decipher what is the legislative agenda itself before we get into what is embedded in there. But just at the mention of legislative agenda.
The legislative agenda is an alternative of what the government is doing. So that's what we try to give, to offer alternatives to what the government is doing.
Okay.
But of course you cannot have it in a society which does not know what will happen anytime. Today, even if they ask you that you are an educated man, Mr. Semakula, how do you see Uganda in the next few months or years? You say, I don't know. The uneducated always ask the educated, how do you see the future of this country? Do you know their answer? They don't know. You ask priests, they tell you they don't know.
Religious leaders?
Yes, you ask the religious leaders, you know, can you have a picture of the Uganda of tomorrow? They also don't know what is like to happen.
Why don't we know? Why don't
because,
we know? Because everything
because
is on
if
paper.
you live in a country where all institutions are dead, you just pretending, but the reality is we are all crumbling.
Is the agenda a pretense? Is it just fostering?
You try, like in my village, in Nakaseke, if someone is very sick, my grand always tries to read your temperature. When the temperature is high, she may think that it is malaria. It may not be malaria because there are so many causes of high temperatures. But she tries to get for you Mululuza. If Mululuza does not work, then she thinks of bomb. So a country where we have educated people who don't know what is likely to happen, a country where we have people in leadership who don't know where your country is going, even if you put them a question. Or opposition, what opposition does, it tries to give some alternatives. But anyway, do they work? Do they work when you look at the society where we are? Because if today, you like, for example, we had that one of ensuring that at least the community is empowered economically. But does it, when you look at the economic environment, with the alternatives given by the opposition, can it work?
Luta Maguzi,
yes.
This country has economists.
Yes, they are there.
This country has...
But they are sleeping. Most of them are sleeping.
This country has lawyers.
They are sleeping.
This country has physicians.
Yes, they are sleeping.
This country has experts.
What have they done?
That's my question. Now, Ugandans do trust you, the leaders, the political leaders, more than they trust economists. Ugandans do
that's where Semakula, you go wrong.
No, because you've
thinking that all the problems will be worked on by politicians. Politicians are just humans like you.
Yes, because you've portrayed yourselves politicians as the best alternative for this country in as far as leadership is concerned. A person today would, for example, if anything came up today, you will notice that your member in the constituency would not go to the Sabasumba or would not go to the parish leader in there, but they would look out for Luta Maguzi Semakula. Because you've showed them, you are the alternative, you know, Moba Sekanyolia Begwanga. And that's what everybody thinks. Now, are you saying that even you, the leaders, do actually not know where we're supposed to go?
Do you want to tell me that every Sekanyolia sees far?
That's my assumption. Every secondary has to
Kasanke which can see more further than a secondary.
Then there's a problem.
But no, but the secondary shouldn't work alone. And who makes secondary to be the secondary of the country? It's you, the people.
We
meaning
made,
that,
we
meaning
made,
that,
we made you the second Julius.
Yes, meaning that. Let me tell you, even among the dwarfs, there is a giant. Did you know that?
Yes, I know.
And they say that that one is a giant, but when that Nakambuti comes to normal society, you see, these people really normal to call this Mumbuti a giant. So that's where the society is full of confusion. A society which does not allow institutions to operate independent. Like, for example, most of these lawyers you are talking about, they have become what dealers in land dealers.
But those are lawyers.
No, I don't understand.
Have they also become dealers?
Yeah, they are dealers in land matters. They are what? They are no longer all that serious as we used to know. That a lawyer, I was in Makerere University in Mitchell Hall. By the time I started, I used to respect lawyers. But today, they have also resorted to being dealers. They are no longer serious. You've talked about economists. What have economists done? The communists we have in Uganda today, what have they done? Look what the ever increasing
inflation.
Look what the ever increasing depreciation of the shillings. What have they done? They have left everything to politicians, especially politicians who don't know anything to do.
That's a challenge. You've portrayed yourself. Why don't you, the politicians,
you forget about we members of parliament and concentrate on all leaders in the country, including local leaders. What have they done? Because I told you, the problem you have as Ugandans to think that everything is put into members of parliament. Even if the sun did not shine, you say, these MPs, we don't see the sun. If you don't have rain, you see, you look at these MPs, we don't have rain in our village. So
we are not at that level,
That is the level of Uganda.
No, we are not at that level. We know what is natural.
Like, for example, let me tell you, like, for example,
yes.
There is a forest called the Bugoma in Bunyoro. I've been a shadow minister for lands. The people of Bunyoro are very strong people. There are so many educated Banyoros. But when I went there, very small people were compromised to sell the forest, that Bugoma forest. But then these small people, they have a lot of powers among the
small small to mean what? The small people, the few people.
They have no positions, leadership. So I call them
small.
So when you went there, these people are lamenting, these MPs have not helped us, Then when I reached there, I asked them a question. That you really people, you the Banyoro, think you have jurisdiction of Bunyoro land? If you do have, then why is it that you have to wait for an MP who's just one person, or maybe 2 or 3, to make decisions for you? Because I understand every person and at each level of leadership has responsibilities. If you can sit down and decide as Banyoro that we are not giving away Bugoma forest, how can an outsider come to you and he convinces you and start logging the mighty forests like Bugoma? So we have a very big problem. I don't know whether it was created by this regime or by Ugandans, that all problems of Uganda are being are supposed to be shouldered by MPs. Even if you find someone on the streets just moving around, does not want to work, because I told you at the beginning of our show that the biggest problem we have is, I don't know where it began, people look at agriculture as an activity of the failed people in the society. But for me, every weekend I have a farm called Camp Rutamaguzi. Every weekend I go down to my farm. If you want to come to talk politics during working hours, even if you are my relative, whatever, I tell you, please, we are working. Because I'm following the norms of our people, that agriculture, right from the beginning, is the backbone of this economy. But you, Jagenda, when you come to parliament, you don't want to ask us that you people, now you're saying that agriculture is the backbone of our economy, of our country. What is the percentage in terms of budgeting are you giving to agriculture?
You see, you made a submission here and said our country has turned into a country of lamenters. Now, we would lament.
No, No, when I lament, when you see an MP lamenting during the budgeting process, you push them away. You tell them now that you cannot manage it to work for me. Why are you here? Because lamenting means that you have totally failed and you have no solution. But because the society is highly compromised. Compromise all people. You go there when you give them something small, they look at it as
I want to think that everybody who is compromised is the one who is now maybe pro-government. The opposition is not compromised.
No, including us in opposition. We are not angels. We are not angels.
Are you also compromised?
We are Ugandans.
So even those
we are Ugandans. We are Ugandans. Let me tell you, opposition is not a certain category of people.
I thought so.
No, it's not. It is just a name you give to a person.
So they're not any different?
Now you and me, we are in opposition here in the studio.
We are in opposition?
Yes. You are opposing what I'm saying. You're opposing what I am saying. so if you look at the opposition per se in parliament or in political parties, there are people in the government who oppose some bad policies.
Exactly. That I know very well. And you know,
if you oppose a bad policy and they bring a right policy, are you ready to consume it as a country, as a countryman, as a nationalist? Because for me, I told my colleagues in the parliament, in NRM, that as much as you are in NRM, and this Luta magazines in DP, all people power, we are all Ugandans. We should try to sit down and design programs that are meant for development of our country. Because for me, when I go to the hospital when I'm sick, I don't ask someone that, you man, please.
Before you inject me.
Before you inject me. Are you Munyankore or you are Muganda? Before you inject me, are you FDC? Are you DP?
You want treatment?
I want treatment. That's the Uganda we want. We want a country that can solve issues for all Ugandans, regardless of their political, religious backgrounds, but we should focus on one thing, creating a better Uganda for all of us. Whether you live in the village, you deserve better. Okay. There is a norm in our society. In fact, people used to tell us that you were a villager and you could fight. Someone who calling a villager, like someone who calling a sheep now. Look at this sheep, you can fight. But remember, Jesus was called the son of what?
Hold it there. You are about to start preaching to me now. Well, it is the Honorable Tamaguzi Paulson Kasana Semakula, Member of Parliament representing Nakaseke South, and also the Deputy Chairperson of the Local Government's Public Accounts Committee. We're talking discussing the opposition legislative agenda. How plausible is its implementation is what we're seeking to answer this morning. We'll take a break and return.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Join us virtually as we celebrate URA's 30th anniversary and annual Thanksgiving service. The event will be live on all major TV channels and on Zoom. The guest of honor will be His Excellency, the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The celebrations will take place at the Kololo Independence Grounds on the 15th of September 2021, starting at 10 a.m. Ebenezer, thus far the Lord has helped us.
Lord, I am thankful for the name of Jesus, thankful for the blood that cleans us. Lord, I'm thankful for you. Each day I am thankful for the Spirit's leading, thankful that in you there's healing.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
5 for 5, 5 times the winning, yeah. 5 times the happiness, yeah. 5 times the luckiness, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5, 5 times the money, yeah. 5 times the shopping, yeah. 5 times the prizes, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5.
Win 100,000 Uganda shillings weekly in the 5 for 5 jackpot. Simply download the Center mobile app. Click Center on the go to open your account online. Transact 5 times or more using Center Mobile, Center Visa, and Center Agent to stand a chance to win. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. So, participate in the 5 for 5 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 5 for 5 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank. Our bank, Centenary Bank, is regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175*94# to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from AIRTEL. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an AIRTEL SIM card. Dial *175*94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. AIRTEL, the smartphone network.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, it's Good Morning Uganda Extra. Welcome back from the break. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka with the Honorable Luta Maguzi Paulson Kasana, Semakola Member of Parliament for Nakaseke South and also a Deputy Chairperson of the Local Government Public Accounts Committee here with me this morning on UBC to discuss the opposition legislative agenda, which they have as an alternative. And we're looking at it, asking a question whether it's possible to actually implement this. Honorable Tamaguzi, looking at the agenda itself, I know that you as a member of parliament, first and foremost, you are an ex-official in your local government, at the council in your district. Do you visit, do you normally go, do you attend these meetings, do you sit with them, do they know anything? Because when you look, for example, in Uganda, you notice that majority of the local councils are actually dominated by the opposition. Now, it's the NRM actually in opposition, because if you find a council where you have more DPs, more NUPs, more than the NRM, then I think NRM now becomes the opposition in that particular council. Do they know what you're doing? Do they know what you're pursuing as the leaders in parliament?
Actually, there is a saying among the Baganda that if you don't know where you are going, any road you take can take you. Whether you sit in the councils or not, the cardinal issue would have been, or question would have been, are the deliberations put into action? Are they practiced? Because it has become a norm that councils sit for the sake of getting allowances. Just like it is a norm today that all conferences, all seminars which are organized by politicians, they are organized with an intention of
transport refund, reimbursement.
No, transformation of the society, induction of the society, but 90% of the attendants only think of transport refunds and allowances. The rest is none to them. So if you find a society where all leaders, where even the led have lost focus, have lost hope. Uganda is a country where you find a leader, because the leader is supposed to be seeing far away and is supposed to be offering solutions to every problem. But it's a country where you find the leaders also lamenting. They're asking the lead that, what do you think should be done? That's why I told you that we need to sit down and refocus and ask ourselves, is where we are, we supposed to be where we are? If we are not supposed to be where we are, what has been the cause, the root cause of all these failures? Because I told you, as much as we blame President Museveni, we blame the ministers, we blame the MPs, we blame the what, until we sit down and redefine the direction which we want our country to move on, to move in. We are still wasting a lot of time. Did you know that this government came with the policy of improving the lives of people through emancipation of people based on gender? But almost 40 years nothing has yielded positively. Why? And yet people are there. The institutions are there. Why a country where you have institutions which are fully established and people have everything they want? Why is it that
let's think and accept that this government has failed. 40 years down the road,
it has not just failed, it has totally failed. Being in a country which has taken almost more than 40 years without its citizens reaching middle income status.
They have failed.
Yes,
and now that the question comes in, if this government has failed, what are you offering that we think will help us from the failure? Because if these have failed and we can't ask any more from them, what is this that you're coming up with? What are you now reviving to actually say, these have failed, but this is what needs to be done?
You see, when you are sick and they tell you, when you have a sick person and they tell you that your patient is suffering from multiple organs failure, what do you think? What do you think can be done?
To treat the organs?
Yes, if you are the doctor. Your patient is suffering from multiple organs failure. What do you do? Because if you touch the kidney, it is failed. You touch the liver, it is failed. What do you do as a doctor? And the owner of the patient, what do you do?
Are you surrendering us now?
What do you do as the owner of that patient?
Who is the patient in this case? From the
Uganda.
Uganda is the patient. Who are the doctors?
From multiple organs failure.
Who are the doctors?
When you go to the health sector,
That's
people
the kidney.
Importing,
that's the
people
kidney.
are importing expired substandard drugs for this country, and they are still in offices.
The health sector is the kidney.
Yes. Then you go.
Education is the liver.
Then you go to the education system. Everything almost. We used to have traditional schools that used to perform excellently. They could not even advertise themselves. Namiriango, King's College, Tororo, then in Busoga, Mwiri,
Ginger College,
Ginger College. Where are those schools now?
They are there.
Where are they?
I studied in Tororo College. It's there, in Nyangole village.
Today, the other day, you go to Makerere University, which we used to call the Harvard of Africa. Almost every month, the lecturers are striking. And they are being beaten and they are fighting.
That's the liver. It's also.
And there is, even in Makerere University, there is a what for tear gas. There is a budget for tear gas every month in Makerere University. That today, this month, students are calm, but next month, they are supposed to fight. So, where are they?
Who is the
now
doctor
you
now?
go to the agriculture sector. Minister of Agriculture. Do you see it anywhere?
Let me ask a question.
All agricultural institutions have been sold off. Their lands have been demarcated to some developers, estate developers, and whatever. So, in case Uganda is our patient,
who is our doctor?
Which party is still functioning now?
All parts have died. All parts have died,
Yes.
according to you, the doctor.
Yes,
now,
according to me.
Who is the doctor? And what is it? Because you see, once a doctor.
Let us be like we did in Corona, Mr. Semakula. In Corona, during Corona times, everyone was a doctor. In the beginning of the first what?
The first wave.
The first wave. Everyone was a doctor, including my granny in the village. You say, you just get it papyrus, what, you do what? Everyone was a doctor. But in the second wave, some people started reducing their being doctors, and they started making consultations from the experienced people from the health sector. But now, everyone in this country needs to find a solution for the problems which are affecting our country. Because if we just sit down and we think that politicians will solve all problems of Uganda, we are just...
Doesn't the agenda give us solutions to the problems?
Yes, we have totally been corrupted, whose institutions are almost halfway dead. You have to be very genius. That's why you see most people who have offered some alternatives, we look at them as very genius people. If the alternatives they give out actually work, because you can't go to a society like, for example, I will give you an institution of police. Do you know that the police in Zambia police barracks currently has had no power for more than a month?
At the barracks?
One of the biggest police barracks we have in the country, in Zambia police barracks, and they're the one who's manning the chambers of parliament there. So who's to blame in that case?
Who represents them?
Where? In
Zambia.
In MP. You are going wrong again. Again, you are going wrong. You are blaming the MP. Is the MP the one who's supposed to purchase power for policemen? Why didn't you ask the minister which minister is responsible for
General
what?
Tafire. General Tafire is the minister.
Can't General Tafire know that policemen in Zambia have had no power for more than a month? And they come to parliament in Shabe what? Except those who can afford to part with some little money, and they go to the dry cleaners and they earn their clothes. So that's the root cause of the decay of our country. Now, if you go to most hospitals in this country, we have. If you go there and you take a patient there, including government hospitals, if you don't pay money, they will leave your patient.
Do you address all that in your agenda? Because
yes,
you're now part of the lamenters. We are the lamenters. You want to be part of us.
We need
we put you at a level.
We need to streamline all institutions and make people responsible for their activities, do their work. Not just to put people there like Bifananya, and you see someone is just there, a doctor of a certain hospital, but decisions are taken by some small people around because of their political inclinations they have with some people in the state. You take your time. Because if you blame everything, MP, you have responsibility to ask why is it that almost all roads in the city, which is supposed to be Kampala, which is supposed to be the face of the country,
do you know why we ask you, the MPs? We've seen you members of parliament. You are bringing to us ambulances all the time. You're bringing to us all these things.
The MP,
you are coming to us.
There are certain things I call political bring. But if you find a society which is lacking something and you are in the capacity of offering it, why don't you give it out? It's not the work of the MP to buy an ambulance.
Because all of you buy ambulances,
and
you've made us think that you're supposed to give us an ambulance.
The MPs are the one who make budgets, not so? And they demarcate the what? The budget lines. Why is it that they can't demarcate money for buying ambulances instead of them putting it a responsibility to...
Have they talked about that in...
No, I always tell my colleagues that if we have to make...
You've not budgeted for ambulances.
Why is it that we Parliament don't budget for those ambulances?
You don't appropriate
putting that to MPs to buy them. But if you buy, it's not a problem. If you buy, if you buy your village an ambulance, is it a crime? Especially when it is not there. Because government has so many eyes. There is nothing in the world which has many eyes like government. But if the eyes of government cannot see that in Nakaseke there are ambulances, in Masaka there are ambulances,
because part of the government's eye is Rutamaguzi in Nakaseke. Part of the government's eye is in Segumire in Mitiana. Part of the government's eye is Ojara in Mapinduzi in Gulu. Part of the government's eye is this man somewhere there. That's what government does. And it's you now. And because you've portrayed yourselves, you as members of parliament, that you are the solution to our problems.
But listen,
that's why we run to you.
Not every eye sees. We have so many eyes which you don't see. Not every eye see. That's why we are telling government, please, we have better eyes. Can you please put off those who don't see? But they can't give you any space because they know that once you shine, they will put them in the shadows. And they look at government as having failed. But for me, I told you, if you are to change this country for the betterment of the next generation, of this current generation, we should work as a team. That's why for me, if I find you bringing an ambulance to Nakaseke, I can't ask which party do you belong to. I look at an ambulance, not a political party which you subscribe to. That's why we tell government that today, if you think that MPs have become the smaller governments of the big government, why don't you empower them? Do you know that an MP is going to receive money for the vehicle? It is announced everywhere in government media. Everywhere. Why don't you announce when people are coming to ask for problems in my constituency, for solutions of their problems in my constituency?
We don't see them coming.
And someone tells you that, please, these MPs are living a luxurious lifestyle, and you ask, you tell me an MP, because even you, Jagenda, you're part of the society, which thinks that an MP is extremely rich, they are swimming in cash. You tell me an MP owns an arcade in Kampala. Because even those who come to parliament when they are rich, they go when they are cursing parliament that there is some ghost in parliament which consumes your money if you are not.
Is that so? But nobody wants to run out of parliament. They keep coming. They keep coming.
Yes. You become like a priest. You are supposed to be committed to the church.
Who wants to
whether there are problems there, you try to change them. But I want to ask you, because an MP in Uganda is an equivalent to a councillor in terms of emoluments in Kenya. The resources are there, but do we plan for them accordingly? Like for today, I can ask you, we have minerals in the country today, but who owns them and who gets money from them? We have money from the lakes. I would have been better. I would have felt better to see that all people who are working along the lakes in the country, the resources that come out of the lakes, first help them before they come to the center. That's why the government introduced decentralization. But decentralization is completely, almost systematically and gradually dying. And we are now re-centralizing everything. We thought that by government introducing decentralization, the resources in those areas should first cater for them, such that if we combine different areas in terms of resources,
it still comes back to the members of parliament. It still comes back to you.
That's why I've told
because
you.
It is you who passes the laws that
when you see MPs, you should salute them. Because everything you put it to MPs. MPs.
Because you've showed us that you are the rainmakers in this country.
Yes, we do. If you don't have rain in your gardens and you come to parliament, that please, MPs, we don't have rain in our gardens. What do you think I tell you? I tell you I'm not Jesus. Who can make miracles? You make a rain, you make the sun there, then you create grass here, you make a trees. I tell you, please give me time, I'm not Jesus, which you are not ready to listen to. Because, like, for example, in the first year, people expect you to fulfill all your pledges.
Because that's what you tell them.
How much do I earn? And that's why.
Do you use your money to fulfill the pledges?
Exactly.
You use your money?
Yes.
Why do you use your money?
No. I've never seen the government facilitating MPs.
To do what?
To do what they are doing.
What?
You don't know what you have been asking before is what I do.
Because it surprises me.
When these people, they were summer come back to Uganda, they always look at us and say, Uganda is a funny country. There is no person, a policeman is, an MP is like a goalkeeper. You can make a great saves and saves, but the only goal that enters your net is the only thing the spectators will remember. They cannot remember the saves you've done. They only remember the goal that passed you. And when you try to convince them, please, I have saved these shots, why can't you clap for me? They say no, but you allowed in the other one to enter the net. So please forget. It's just what we MPs go through. I've never seen people appreciating MPs, yet we have become the government today. Because when I go to my village in Nakaseke, to my constituency in Nakaseke, people will always ask me, Honorable, our borehole is no longer functioning. Honorable, we don't have water here. Honorable, we don't have beds in the hospital. Honorable, our water did it. Honorable, we don't have rain. Can you tell them, people, please? That's why you see that some MPs start to hide away. They change their phone numbers and try to hide away. Do you know the one who initiated this what making vehicles to be tinting the vehicles? You know the one who introduced the system that introduced vehicles, tinting vehicles of MPs to be tinted?
Who introduced it? A member of parliament?
No, not MPs. It is the villagers. Because sometimes even ministers want to hide. Why is it that if you are going to a constituency, you don't sit in the vehicle where everyone can see you? No, not even if it's not a pickup, but a vehicle which is very transparent, whereby even everybody your voters can see you. But why is it that you prefer tinted vehicles? Because the problems are very many than what you can manage. So until when people sit down and see that MPs are actually doing a lot of work for this country and appreciate them in terms of remuneration, in terms of facilitation at different levels, and they start respecting them. Because if I make a decision, today there are certain people who don't respect decisions taken by Parliament. They look for some orders from above. Yes, you MP have said, but I am not working for you.
Okay, well, thank you, Lutamaguzi Semakula. Exactly going to call you Semakula Ziksoka. Lutamaguzi Paulson Kasana, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for being with us. We stop it here. I just want to wish you all the best and say, don't do what you're not supposed to do.
Yes, but we have to encourage our people to still observe the SOPs.
Very important.
Corona is still there. If you're a farmer, please continue doing the farm. Let everyone be active in a society. That's why I'm appealing to government that as much as you want taxes, please try to put up taxes which are a bit reasonable, such that the people whom you collect taxes from can survive and also get something, because this country is for all of us. And I want to encourage government, please, you people in government, I'm part of government, open up schools. Open up schools. People in Kenya are studying, in Rwanda they are studying, in Tanzania they are studying, and including other neighboring countries. Why is it that Uganda is very special that you cannot allow students to go back to school? And think about private school teachers. These private school teachers have been neglected as if they are not part of the society. So I want to thank you. And I want to thank the people who have been viewing us. I have a certain reverend called the Reverend Kabuye in Ibamusut has been watching us, and they said to me that I should send his greetings to you. Including there's so many colleagues, Mr. Hassan in Ichoga, including some colleagues in Parliament. Parliament has been watching us directly. So I want to thank you, colleagues who have been watching us. Hope next time Mr. Jagenda Zikusoka Semakula will call me again. We deliberate these issues not in bad faith, because everyone who thinks for Uganda should ensure that Uganda is better for us. Despite the differences we have in our politics and whatever, we should remain Ugandans. Thank you.
Let's keep safe. My name is Jagenda Semakula Ziksoka. Thank you so much. We'll turn tomorrow again with Good Morning Uganda Extra. Blessings and bye for today. Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello there, just gone 10 in the morning here in Moscow. You're watching RT International. Now, in his testimony before Congress, the US Secretary of State, Anthony